Hi everyone, Adam Cleary from FourFourTwo here, and you're not going to believe this, right? But I just finished recording a video about West Ham United and the signing of Edson Alvarez and what that means for the team and all of that, and then gone to make a cup of tea, come back, and they've bought James Ward-Prowse. Now what I should do is just go, oh, that's nice, and work on my Alvarez video and put that out and then talk about Ward-Prowse later in the week, but I'm addicted. I am addicted to the views, and I know where they are. I have an actual illness, so my descent into madness for one side for a moment. James Ward-Prowse to West Ham United. What a signing that is, by the way. Now, you already know loads about JWP. That's the only time I'm going to call him that, I swear. You know loads about him, don't you? He's this set-piece specialist. He's deadly from the dead ball. He's David Beckham, just with less modelling contracts. And you know what? You're right, he is. He's probably the best dead ball specialist in the Premier League right now, bar none. His delivery from corner kicks on both sides is absolutely excellent. His delivery from free kicks, whether they're deep or they're short or they're wide or they're central, is second to almost none. You don't need me to tell you that he can hit them as well. In fact, he's only one free kick goal behind David Beckham in the all-time Premier League rankings for those now. And how's this for a stat? Since 2013, only Lionel Messi has scored more free kicks than James Ward-Prowse, and Messi's done it with over twice as many shots, meaning that Ward-Prowse has a better conversion rate over the last 10 years. In fact, even if you take that statistic all the way back to 2006 and 2007, thank you, Opta, for this stat. There's still only Ronaldo and Messi have scored more free kicks since then, since like 18 years or whatever it is, despite the fact he wasn't playing for the first 6 of those. That's wild, isn't it? And this is really, really useful for West Ham, because if you look at them last season in terms of where they rank for chances created from set pieces and goals scored from set pieces, they're middling. They're not really anything exceptional. They're certainly not near the bottom of the league, but they're certainly not near the top. But if you look at the total number of dead balls they actually had in the Premier League last year, they are in fact way near the bottom. So they're already overperforming where you would expect them to be in this regard, which means they convert dead ball chances really, really well. You're all the way in sort of middle to upper table in terms of the goals you get from them and the chances you create from them, but you're all the way down near the bottom in terms of the number you get. So you sign a player who's going to be able to take them from more positions, who you're going to be more reliant upon to be delivering them, and all of a sudden the number's going to go up, and thus by extension, that number's going to go up. Like, case in point, Southampton were absolutely minging last season and bottom of pretty much every single table you care to measure them on, but they were pretty much right next to Arsenal in terms of the number of chances they were able to create from a set piece. Almost as if there was someone in the team delivering them with incredible quality. But the thing about James Ward-Prowse is you can't just think of him purely as this like dead ball specialist free kick taker. He has so many other attributes to his game that made him so valuable to Southampton that are important. And they are so important because they are things that West Ham have specifically lost by selling Declan Rice. Think about it. West Ham have just lost an academy graduate with leadership qualities who set standards both on and off the pitch, who always put in committed performances even when the team weren't playing that well, who was super, super fit, who covered so much of the pitch. You ask any Southampton fan to describe James Ward-Prowse to you, and obviously once you get past the point about him hitting a brilliant free kick, mate, those are the exact words they'd use. Is that what people from Southampton sound like? I've never been. And all the other stuff he does on the pitch is just really good and very easy to miss with how bad Southampton were as a unit last season. Now, obviously, if you've got the new David Beckham coming through your youth ranks, you probably play him on the right-hand side. Indeed, Ward-Prowse did when he was coming through, but then he sort of settled into more of a central area because the game has changed. You can't just have a dead... you got to be able to play. But as a byproduct of that, whether he was playing a sort of the right-sided one in a 4-2-3-1 or the right-sided pivot in a 4-2-3-1, he would drift out into these spaces here. He would occupy a far more sort of wide position than you would a central one. Now, as you can see straight away, part of the reason you do this is because it gives you great passing angles for either strikers getting around the far post, wide attackers making a run, just getting players in behind defences. It's really useful to have him there. Now, if I'm David Moyes and I've got Alvarez coming in, I probably do start to play a 4-2-3-1 to allow Alvarez to do a lot of James Ward-Prowse's defensive legwork. But Ward-Prowse can do that himself. He reads the game exceptionally well in terms of making blocks and interceptions. In fact, given how bad his overall defensive numbers are, which I should say if you're looking at that and the alarm bells are going off, bear in mind that's not his job, so he's not going to score highly in them. He still does really well for intercepting the ball. And what you can infer from that is while he's not defensively minded, he is always alive to what the other team is doing. He used to regain the ball really well for Southampton in the middle and attacking thirds. Now, something that he might be able to do at West Ham, which he wasn't really able to do at Southampton because they became more and more reliant on his influence on how they attacked, is sort of be more patient. Because when James Ward-Prowse is patient in attack, he's deadly. And what I mean by that is not being the first pass everybody's looking for. Like you could see with Southampton last year, every time they got into a dangerous position, everyone's first thought was, where's Prowsey? I need to give the ball to Prowsey. But West Ham have other good attacking players, so it's not going to be on Ward-Prowse to constantly bomb up box to box to both help with his defensive responsibilities and to make sure he's always available for a pass in the final third. And what that allows him to do, which a player of his skill set should always do, is arrive late. Not to crash the box to try and get on the end of something, but to be the player that effectively locks in an attack. If we just sort of imagine here that West Ham are playing a 4-2-3-1, although the formation doesn't matter for this, they win the ball back and they want to rush it up the other end of the pitch. They want to get a transition going. Obviously, all your attacking players, they'll push up as much as they can. They'll be occupying the defenders, the fullbacks, they'll push them right towards their own goal. You'll get a very attack-minded midfielder. They'll join in. The fullbacks, they love to get involved, so they'll be there as well. All of a sudden, you'll start penning in and penning in and penning in. And then, presuming they weren't able to fashion a chance and they're now recycling possession, then James Ward-Prowse arrives. And all the players with defensive responsibility for the other team, they're occupied, they're in their position, they've got their block going, they know what they're doing, which means Prowse is now spare. And when these players are now recycling the ball around, trying to find a way to unlock the defense, there's James Ward-Prowse unmarked, gets the ball, it effectively becomes a dead ball situation for them. And he can just get his head up, he can find a runner at the back post, he can get a fullback in around the back, he can play somebody in with a slide pass. He's the perfect player to have in that position when you've sort of completely flipped the possession. The problem he had at Southampton was he was so important to them, he had to break his neck to get forward to be part of that initial thrust, which means he was one of the players who then effectively got picked up and got marked. Playing for West Ham, playing with other better attacking players, should free him up a bit. So yeah, you take the fact that he is a fantastic player both on and off the ball who is going to take his teammates to levels they were not at last season, and the fact that he's also got the right personality type to fill the enormous hole you've just got from losing your best player. And I'm honestly struggling to think, at 30 million quid, struggling to think of a better transfer I've seen this summer. West Ham still have a lot of work to do, and admittedly this hasn't been finalised yet, but I'd be feeling a lot better about next season now than I was a week ago. And I'm still not over this. This video was nowhere near as good as the one I'd already recorded about Alvarez and Maguire and whatnot, but that one didn't have James Ward-Prowse in it, did it? So if you're a West Ham fan, I can understand why this is probably more interesting. But, I mean, if you're a West Ham fan, that just gives you all the more reason to subscribe to the channel, because I will get around to doing that at some point, and it is, honestly, very good. And as for the rest of you, if you did enjoy this video, please do consider subscribing. It's the one thing you guys can do that really directly does help us out, because we get more subs, and we show it to all the big boss men and the decision makers, and go, look, people like this, and they want to watch more of it, so help us make more. And they go, okay, we'll help you make more, and that's all I want to do. In the meantime, though, let's continue the conversation. Why not? Not like I've got anything else on. At Adam Cleary, CLERY, Twitter, Instagram, pretty much everywhere else. We have a 4-4-2 Fantasy League team, which we would dearly like you all to come and join. The description will be below, but I'll probably just put it on screen just so that it goes into your brain a little bit easier. Please do join us there. I haven't got it yet, but we are considering doing excellent fun prizes every single month for people who score lots of points in that. So, to be announced. In the meantime, though, Adam Cleary, 4-4-2, James Ward-Prowse, West Ham United. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.